Well, John Schneider had his pre-draft meeting with the media where he didn't really reveal anything about the draft, which is sort of how he is.
Weird.
But he did talk about some of the developments that happened in the offseason, talked about how Sidney Rice, their expectation is he'll be ready to go when the season starts. Not sure what they're going to do with James Carpenter in his fifth year. Doug Baldwin on Friday can decide on whether or not he's going to accept their tender. And the news that probably jumped out the most to us was that reaffirming that Terrelle Pryor, who was acquired for a 7th-round draft pick from the Raiders, is here to play quarterback.
Yeah, that was, everybody speculated when they picked him up. All right, well, you've got Tavares. He's got a guaranteed deal, and it's not exorbitant. It's not like they, had to manipulate the salary cap in order to bring him in. But he's a guy that is loved in that locker room, loved by the coaching staff, familiar with everything. So you're like, who's he competing with? And it sounded like by what he was saying today that not only is he not being tried out at other positions as we sit right now, the way most people speculated, but he would be perhaps the third quarterback in turn competing with B.J. Daniels, that they wouldn't mind carrying 3 quarterbacks. So I guess that makes sense. If you're going to carry 3, then he's going to compete for that spot. But the idea of him competing with Tavares didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
No, and that if they carry 3, it does make sense, and you can see how they do it with a guy like him. No disrespect to B.J. Daniels, but he doesn't have the same sort of athletic gifts that Pryor has. I think the same kind of intrigue that Pryor has. One of the other things that he said was the reason why they traded a 7th-round pick for him was he felt there was better than they could do than anyone else in the 7th round. And think about what they've done in the 7th round. Mm-hmm. They've gotten starters at the offensive line in the 7th round, maybe 2 of them, because Anthony Bowie was another guy he talked about today,
Michael Bowie,
who looks like he's going to replace Breno Giacomini at right tackle. He's going to get a first shot at doing it. So that's where they've gotten some value, and so they obviously value Pryor's skill set, believe in what he can be, but I don't think they believe he is that yet, which is even a backup quarterback at this point. So I think they're intrigued by his athletic ability, and they're trying to figure out a way to keep him, and they're not opposed, this is the other piece of news maybe, to keeping 3 quarterbacks, which is not something they've done much in the past.
Well, and he's not one to let out a game plan for anything, whether it's the draft or whether it's how they're going to use guys. So maybe he's parsing it in a way of saying, well, right now he's a quarterback, but doesn't mean they won't try him at other spots or try to utilize him in other aspects of the game as they move on and progress during training camp and see what he is capable of. So maybe he is a guy that will be, featured in special packages, or they'll try to do something, creative with him offensively. Who knows what they're going to do? But as it sits right now, it looks like he's competing for the number 3 spot at quarterback.
And remains one of the more intriguing stories as the Seahawks approach training camp.